Okay, so we're diagnosing a crank no start. So the first things when diagnosing a crank no start is there's three main things. You have to have spark, fuel, and air. The best way to check for air is to mitigate the most common problem, which would be the air filter. You can inspect it, look at it. We've already done it here. It is a little dirty, but not enough to where it would cause a clogging air concern. We have now currently mitigated the fuel. I use starting fluid to see if it will start up with it. That will mitigate like a fuel pump or anything like that. It did not start with the starting fluid, so now we're leaning more towards spark. So on this specific, this is a 3.6 Penn-Start engine. So to get to the spark plugs on these, you have to remove the intake to get to these back ones. The intake comes over the top and covers these front spark plugs on these. So we're going to start by getting these. You need to be very careful with these type of connectors. The best way I use to fix these is I'll use these little hooks so I don't break them. You'll come right underneath in this back, pop it, and pull. And we're gonna have right here, it's hard to see, we can turn this little light on here. So this is gonna be a 10 mil bolt. We're gonna pop that off real quick. Little 10 mil ratchet here. I think it turns the screen off. And then you're gonna very slowly pop up. This with two hands. You don't want to bend it or turn it or anything like that. You're just gonna slowly pull up. This is your ignition coil. So this is what creates and generates the spark for your spark plugs. Okay? So we're gonna set that off to the side. Now, what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to check for spark. There's a couple ways you can do that. I like using spark plug test, like a spark plug inline tester. So this is going to go directly onto the spark plug. In order for spark plugs to fire, they have to be grounded to the engine block. So I like using them in the engine themselves. So I'm gonna test for spark here by putting that sucker on the plugs. And I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna install this onto my ignition coil. I'm gonna install this onto my boot. And then I'm going to plug back in my ignition coil. And you'll hear the click. And you can pull on it a little bit to see if it'll come out. So that's the little tab that we're trying to take off. So now, if you would go ahead and crank that for me, we are going to check for spark. So this is gonna light up. All right, so see how that's firing right there. So we have spark. So now we've mitigated that we have spark. We should be having fuel. We tested it with the starting fluid and it didn't fire. So let's go ahead and pull the spark plug out and we're gonna inspect it. So we're just gonna tear back down this here. Remember, you're gonna pop that little tab up, pull back. So this is that tab that you're grabbing. So you're gonna come in, pull up, and pop out. And then we're gonna tear apart this. So you can get spark plug sockets pretty much anywhere. I love these magnetic ones just because they're a lot easier to use. That's a personal opinion though. So you're gonna bring these down, you're gonna get an extension, Pop it on. You can grab your ratchet. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. So you're gonna pull that extension out, and we're gonna pull that spark plug out. So there's 3 things you want to do when diagnosing and checking spark plugs. The big one is you want to see what it looks like. There's a couple things you want to check for on spark plugs. First of all, you're going to have your spark plug gap. So that is from the tip to your electrode. And you want to see how wide that gap is. You can also see how it's the thickness of it and to where it's so worn down. That's a great indicator that the spark plug's starting to wear out. Now, the other thing we're going to check is we're going to use all of our senses. So the biggest thing I want to tell people is you want to check with all your senses: taste, touch, smell, and sight, right? And hearing. You want to listen to what it's doing, cranking, everything like that. So the next thing I want to check is I'm going to smell the plug, and I smell fuel on this, which that tells me instantly that our fuel system is good. That means fuel pump coming in here, we're getting fuel into the engine, and it's trying to start, but we're not getting what we need to start. So whenever doing your diagnoses, you have 3 things. You have the concern. So the customer's concern was what?
Not starting.
Car's not starting, right? Okay, so we have a crank no start, right? So that's our concern. We confirmed the concern right when we got it. We tried to start it, wouldn't turn on. So then concern. Now we need to find the cause. That's the diagnosis. Now, I'm not going to instantly condemn spark plugs. Yes, they're old. Yes, I know I have fuel on them, but I want to confirm my repair before we push for a sale. Not hey, this is what it might need. I'm going to say, this is what it needs. This is going to fix your problem. So, what we're going to do now is check my spark plug to a ground and see if I can see the spark plug trying to ignite. Now is we're going to grab our ignition coil. I'm going to connect my spark plug into my ignition coil. You want to keep this away from a fuel source, obviously, because if it does spark, it's going to try to ignite. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to ground it on a grounded surface. The engine block itself is a grounded surface. So I have this bolt, and then I'm going to go and try to crank start it. There we go. So I have spark, but it definitely hesitates. I would recommend starting with spark plugs. Whenever doing anything intake manifold related, there's gaskets underneath on these intake manifolds. Mm-hmm. If it's never been removed before, a lot of the factory gaskets are rubber. Okay. So they over time, rubber getting hot, cold, it starts to get brittle, it cracks, or it just gets worn out. So it's always smart. You don't have to. It's more of just like a, hey, I'm here.
Might as well.
We'll inspect them, look at them. If you want to do it, no. If not, don't worry about it. It's up to you. There is some risk involved in that. Let's start with spark plugs on Crysler products or Dodge products or Mopar, whatever you want to call it. They do not like iridium spark plugs. I don't know what it is. There's just something that I think it's either this is something that I had an old Dodge tech tell me, that they do not like iridium spark plugs. They have a hard time. They don't have enough power in their ignition coils. This is total speculation. This is more just like knowledge over the years of me being a technician that was given to me. Yeah. So whenever I've done any spark plugs with these, I always go with platinum plugs rather than iridium. Iridium need a decent amount of power on the spark plugs in order to get that really bright spark. The downside is platinum plugs don't last as long.
Yeah, so we're just making her life a little easier as she coasts onto the other side.
So now I'm going to show kind of like when it comes to creating quotes for people. There's a lot of people, yeah, all data is going to tell you everything, and like the mechanic world is always like, oh, all data is a guide, all data is a guide. And I 100% agree with that. There are certain scenarios where all data really can hurt the technician, but there's also some scenarios where it benefits them way more than it should. Where I want to go is we're going to do spark plugs. So I'm going to pull up spark plugs, do the same thing. I'm going to come over to parts and labor, check our spark plugs. To remove and replace is, remove and inspect is, that's R&I, is 2.4. Remove and replace is 2.8. The same process to remove and replace, because I have to put the spark plugs back in. Yeah, it makes no sense. So what we would do is I would do the lower one to help the customer out, in my opinion, because that's the more honest thing. And then to show you, we'll show you the removal and replacement. So all that is going to show you the steps that Crysler tells you to do. And it's going to show you the whole breakdown. Some of them don't. But if you look, so the left-hand ignition coils are shown, the right-hand coils are similar. So it's saying the right-hand ignition coils are the same as the left side. That's all it is. So first step is to remove your ignition coils, and it will show you exactly how. Now, this part, it shows that the intake manifold's off, but it doesn't specify that they have to. Which is just, it's funny sometimes.
You're like, well, we kind of need, you're jumping to step 2.
I kind of have to. That should be step 1, right? What's going to have to happen is we are going to have to pull this intake manifold. You're going to remove this connector here, your vacuum line, this vacuum line, this guy, and then you have 8mm bolts right here, 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 and that's it. And then the sucker comes out. You pull out, and you're waiting to go. And then you have a 10 mil bolt, 2 10 mils right here and here. It's a little harder to see. We'll go. So 10 mil bolt right there, 10 mil bolt right there. And you're gonna pop those out, and then you're going to lift upwards and back and pull out the intake manifold. So, okay, so we have our old spark plug, and we have our old and our new spark plug. So you can tell the difference between the two gaps, and I will break down exactly the gap difference here. So this is called a spark plug gap tool. So there's a thin edge and a super thick edge here. So we're going to come in and we're going to measure what our gap is. So you're going to go until it catches, and that's where your gap is. So 0.05, 0.06, so we're probably 0.055 of a gap right now.
And it was 0.43.
0.043.
0.043.
So that is, so we have a excessive gap, which is a lot. Like, it doesn't seem like a lot, right? But when it comes to a spark gap of something that, like electricity jumping of a spark, that's a lot, right? To where now we're going to have our other one, and we're going to check these, because you always want to check spark plugs that you're buying. They're 40 thousandths.
Perfect.
So first thing we're going to do before I put any new spark plugs and tear into anything is I want to check the compression of the cylinder that we're working on. So I have a compression gauge here. It is screwed into your cylinder. So I will unscrew this real quick and show you. So this is just a simple compression gauge. That's all it is. So you have a little O-ring that seals it off. The same thread pattern as your spark plug here, and the same size. And then you're gonna bring it down, make sure that it's tight. You're gonna bring it down and into the spark plug hole. And you're just gonna thread it in by hand enough to seat that O-ring, and it's nice and tight. And now we're gonna grab our gauge and we're going to connect it in. And then I'm gonna have you, please and thank you, crank that engine for me. So we're gonna have her crank it and we're gonna watch this pressure gauge rise up. Okay, so we're sitting at about 90 PSI. So it's a little low. With the age of the motor and everything like that, that's pretty normal. So nothing to be worried about there. So we've got about 90. Engines are just air pumps, right? So all they're going, what we're measuring there is the compression force of the piston inside the cylinder. So when the engine comes up, it's gonna press that air and compress it really, really tight, like you're making a snowball. And in doing so, when it comes down, that's gonna explode, ignite, and then it's gonna bring that piston down and then bring it back up and open the exhaust valves, and it's gonna go out into the atmosphere. So what we just measured is the force or the pressure, how much it's compressing that and the pressure that it's reading. So 90 PSI is a little low when it comes to compression on engines. You normally start to see compression misfires at around 90 PSI. So compression misfire is when it's not compressing the air fuel mixture enough to where it will burn cleanly. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So you'll get misfires to where it's not burning the fuel properly. It's having a hard time adjusting the timing, doing all that kind of stuff with the engine to where it's meeting the expectation that the engine should be doing. So it's not firing the way it should. Okay. So earlier I said that to get one of these spark plug sockets, and the big reason why the magnetic ones are nice, they have rubber ones that will hold the spark plugs in, but the magnetic ones work the best in from what I've used, and the big reason is that you can do that without it falling out and losing it and dropping the spark plug and doing all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we're gonna come in here, we're gonna grab our socket and our extension, and we're gonna go real slow. I'm gonna connect my extension down in here, and we're gonna come down, and I'm gonna start this sucker by hand, and I'm just gonna go until she stops. Now, there's a couple ways that you can do this when coming to tightening spark plugs. You can use a torque wrench and tighten them down to factory spec, which with more, I can look that up in just a second. So following our service manual here for replacing spark plugs, we're going to check the gap on every single one of our spark plugs using the gap tool and adjusting it to where it needs to be. We're going to take special care that should be when installing spark plugs into cylinder spark plug wells. Be sure the plug does not drop into the plug well, as electrodes can be damaged. So that's the electrode that we're talking about, is that where you adjust your gap. So on the old Spug, the electrode is this guy right here. That's what's sparking. You can see how it's all worn out and all that stuff like there, because over time it starts to degrade and die. It's a wearable part, right? So that's why having that magnetic tip or spark plug socket itself is nice, because it's going to hold that spark plug in there to where it's not going to fall down. Then it's going to tell us that we need to tighten our spark plug to 13 foot-pounds or pound-feet, or 17.5 Newton meters. So you can tighten it. A lot of people will just, that's about hand-tight quarter turn. So you get it to the hand and then you tighten it down a quarter turn. All you're really trying to do when tightening spark plugs is these have a little thing called a crush washer on them. And all you're doing is you're trying to crush and seal the combustion gases from the spark plug. That's all you're doing from what's being happened. So I always just go off the feel when it comes to stuff like that. You don't want to over tighten these for obvious reasons. Yes. So you're just gonna grab your ratchet. I go by hand, I get it to tight, and then you're gonna feel that washer crush. And I'm still going by hand here. I'm not putting any pressure. And now it's starting to get tight where I can't do it. So I'm gonna do hand tight, and it's about 13 foot-pounds. And then you're gonna pull your socket out. And now we're gonna go back and install our spark plug, or not our spark plug, sorry, our ignition coil. And you're gonna start every bolt that you're tightening. You're gonna start, if you're using any electric tool or anything of that matter, you're always gonna start them by hand, because you're gonna risk stripping where that, or cross threading is another word, or whatever you want to use. You're gonna risk stripping those bolts. You don't want to do that, because that's just gonna cause more problems for you. So you're gonna tighten that, just hand tight, make sure it doesn't come loose. Or go ahead, plug that in, make sure that's clipped. We're gonna go and pull the intake manifold off. So we're gonna come right here with our little trim removal tool, and you're just gonna pop up. And that's gonna bring that down. Old plastic stuff like that, it is gonna break most likely, but it's still gonna have a little bit of tab in there to where you can still grab onto it. You can use hand tools. I like electric tools. They make life so much easier, but when I'm installing them, I'm going to use hand tools. So taking off is a different story. So we're just gonna come and we're gonna hit all of our, we're gonna start with all of our connectors first. So we're gonna come back here and we're gonna disconnect this guy right here. You're gonna pinch, you're gonna pull this little red tab back, pinch, and pull. Sometimes it does not like to be nice. And you're never gonna pull on the wires, especially on stuff that's older, because you'll risk damaging them. Now, same thing on this side. We're gonna come in, pull that little red tab, pop the tab, and pull back, and disconnect. Now I'm gonna grab my little pry bar here. You're gonna be very careful. Pop that rubber up, pop this wiring up. It's just a little tab. And then you're gonna have, you're gonna have an electrical connector right here. So you're gonna come in.
Looks like somebody already uses zip tie trick.
Well, that's not, so that's actually, that's factory.
Oh, that is?
Yep, yep, yep. So they have these little clips right here, and it comes and zip ties around to hold it in place. So all we're gonna do is we're just gonna pry those out, get that electrical out of our way. And now we have our rubber hose here and a vacuum hose here. There's two vacuum hoses. So with these ones, I like to just kind of push around. Again, you're trying to be careful not to break anything. You're going to disconnect from right here. You're going to bring your wiring over. And then you're going to push, push, push. Pop it out. And that's going to reveal two more bolts back there. We're just going to go ahead and start taking our bolts out. So these are going to stay in your intake manifold, so you don't lose them. Sometimes they will pop out at times, and it also tells you how much to tighten them down to, 7 to 6 Newton meters. Okay, so now we're gonna come in a little flex ratchet. I come in and I'm gonna pop that guy and go by hand so you don't lose the bolt. Put it right there. If you remember from before, where are the other two at? Do you remember?
Right?
Yeah. Nice. Look at you learning. I love it. I love it.
I don't know, remember what it's called, but I know what the bolts are.
That is all that matters. That's all you need. Okay. So come here, same thing. This one's a little bit easier with a little bit of a ratchet. So come there, and we're gonna reach our hand down in here. And
howdy, sir.
Good.
Hey, Ethan. Or Logan, sorry. Ethan's right there.
Yeah. He's here too.
What's up, Ethan?
Did you bring your coat, child? Oh my goodness.
What you got, buddy?
Take the pick. Like what? The
Spark plugs?
spark plugs?
Yeah.
That was my thought too.
Yeah?
That was originally my thought when he said it was spark plugs, fuel, or air. I was thinking
Yeah.
the spark plugs.
But you never want to condemn something. Yeah, I do not.
Okay.
So a flex head ratchet in scenarios like this is so nice.
My wife just got me
A flex head?
I think it's a flex head. Anyway,
I know Harbor Freight sells them.
I think that's where she bought it. Or maybe it's an extendable one. Maybe I don't think it's a.
Extendable ratchets are pretty cool.
Maybe it's an extendable. I don't think it's a flex head.
Whew, that was some magic right there. Magnetic fingers.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come right here with my little trim tool, and I'm gonna pry just a little bit. And I'm gonna do the same thing down here. Try to get a different angle.
Is Adam and Xander inside?
Yeah. You can go say hi.
Yeah,
You can totally
yeah.
go say hi. Absolutely. Xander might actually be on the pot, but
So just coming in here, just prying these back, and then what you can do is you can come in and you can actually pry those just a hair enough to where you
because that's a metal.
Yeah, it's a metal bracket. So there's two ways you can do it. They're a lot harder to kind of come down in if you're coming from the top. You can get from underneath and get into those brackets. So what a lot of people that I was taught was you come in and you just bend that little bracket. Just to, obviously you don't want to really crank on it because it's important to keep that the strength, integrity, and stuff of those like on those brackets. So you come in and bend that bracket just a hair enough to where you can pop it out.
There you go, yeah.
You don't want to, and again, you're not like.
Whatever that is.
So that's just foam. That's silencing foam. It's like
okay.
yeah, it's to help with vibration, stuff like that. Keep the noise of the engine down. Okay, so we got that popped up. So now we're gonna pop. And we gotta bring forward.
And
those are the gaskets I was telling you about. So this someone
a spider.
is there?
Yeah, there's like that little white.
Oh yeah.
That little made a home there. It's a
So-
lonely life.
So you can see inside here, this is your intake to your engine, the intake assembly, okay? So if you look, you can kind of look down in there. Maybe I can go grab a flashlight. Oh, I guess we have a flashlight. If you look down in there, it's kind of hard to see, but if you look down in there, you can see your intake valves. So if you look deep down in there, you see all those.
Oh yeah. Fun.
So that's your intake. Those are your valves. So those open and close from when the engine's spinning. You have a thing called camshaft, and the camshaft is spinning and it's opening and closing those valves.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So this, for instance, this says it's a 24, or what is it? 6 times 4.
Yeah, 24.
Yeah, 24.
Yeah.
So this is a 24 valve. So it's 4 valves per cylinder.
Okay.
So it's a V6.
Okay.
So there's 2, and then you'll have 2 exhaust valves, and that'll be on the other side. So if you ever took off the exhaust side, you'd see the exhaust valve. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna try to see if I can get away with just flexing that out of my way.
Yeah.
So first thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna pop one of these gaskets off, and we're gonna kind of inspect them with how oil soaked they are. They have been replaced with silicone ones. So someone has been in here. Those might not be factory plugs. The only reason somebody would have done that would either to be replace the oil cooler on one of these. They're notorious for failing. Or spark plugs, injectors. So all of your fuel system is all right here. So this right here, these are your fuel rails. And underneath those is your fuel. See these little connectors right here? These guys?
Yes.
Those are your fuel injectors. So that's what sprays your fuel into the cylinder. Or
that way
in this case, it sprays. These are called port injection. So it sprays into the intake port, where when the air's coming in, and then the valves open, creating vacuum. So it sucks the air and fuel mixture in, and then it comes into compress, and then it sparks, boom, and then comes out the exhaust. So I think it's a good idea. We're just going to replace these with how oil soaked they are. A new set is going to seal. Probably better. It's more.
So
that's
oil
more.
soak is not that.
Yeah, you don't want oil. Obviously, you don't want oil in this. This kind of section right here should be dry. Like I said earlier, we're going to make things faster for everyone using electric tools. I just need my ratchet with my 10mm, and be very careful doing that near the intake. You don't want to drop your spark plug or anything in there, or else you're gonna have a fun time trying to fish it out. So we can do the same thing where I can come on this. You're gonna break it. Oh, sorry. You never want to use this to install spark plugs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna specify that. Yeah. So the same thing. Super dirty, super nasty. I'm gonna keep that and install our new ones. And you're gonna check every single spark plug to make sure that the gap is the same.
Fantastic.
Where it needs to be. It's the same thing. Magnetic spark plug socket is amazing, and it saves lives. We're gonna do the same thing. Come in with your ratchet, hand tight, crush that washer, quarter turn. Come back. I've had people that they'll install spark plugs with their electric ratchets and stuff, and you can do it as long as you're safe about it, but it's more of a safety concern, right? You can, if you
more room for error.
Yeah, if you jerk, you jerk that ratchet or something like that, and your spark plug socket isn't perfectly round or anything like that, you can crack the porcelain on these, and those will cause so much problems.
Well, you probably won't find out till.
Well, it'll start misfiring.
Yeah.
It'll
Until
misfire.
you actually put everything back together.
Yeah, and then you're in a world of hurt, right?
Yeah.
So. Are they just chilling? Awesome.
Giving him a tour.
I love it. I love it. So same thing. We're gonna pull up, and you're gonna grab that boot and go. Come over here. Swap sockets. So sometimes you have that. This is called the firewall. Firewall gets in your it gets in your way. So you can go different size extensions, stuff like that. So as long as you're getting in there, you're good. The thing is super noisy. I mean, I've had that for a couple years now, so it's old.
Okay, what do we do now?
You do not want to forget to install these.
Yes. I totally were like, okay, let's put it back together. Do we need to dry it off around since it was flooded with oil?
I don't have it Like,
I can grab some.
okay, if you have a little towel, that'd be awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah, super crusty, super nasty. You see the wear? See how it's like starting to point? Super nasty. So, grab our new pack here. So whenever you have new boxes like this, do not drop them.
Oh yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but like, and why you have to inspect it, because it could be dropped like unintentionally.
You never know if the auto parts guy dropped it when he was doing stuff. You never know. So always inspect them. Look at your gap. Make sure it's where it's the factory recommended gap is, right? Just to CYA.
Save you some headache.
Yeah, save you a headache. Yeah. So grab our, check our gap right where we need to be, so we're good. A lot of people say that you can't gap iridium spark plug. These aren't iridiums, by the way. These are platinums, like I said. You can't gap iridium spark plugs. You can, you just have to be extremely careful because those tips, those iridium tips are very, very fragile. Very, very fragile. So if you try to pry on it or do anything like that on it, you'll break them.
Oh, that makes sense.
So you just want to be really careful. You don't, when you're prying on it, you're only prying on the electrode and not the, like when you're adjusting the gap, you only adjust the electrode and not
that little spiky thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Which that would be really hard because it's literally so
tiny,
close. It's
super tiny.
0.04 or inches, which is 1.1 millimeter, right? Is what we said?
Yep. Super small.
So then that would also, you'd think, would that also make it less or more faulty or wear?
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Or if it's so fragile.
So no, so the reason I think the reason why it's so fragile is because of how small it is. Like it is a super tiny precision part. Right, that is like they are designed to, the way that they are designed, so the tolerances are just so tiny. I mean, just these ones are like with how tiny that little tiny piece is, and these are not. These are platinums as well, and even those are just tiny.
Yeah.
Right. So like you never like something like that you don't want to be prying on. It just says it's so tiny and weak that even if it is a hard metal, you could still break it or bend it.
Snap. Yeah.
So it's just a smart thing to do.
Yeah. Well, good to know that. Especially from a definitely zero information.
Yeah.
I like to make a rig of sorts to have an external battery on it.
That'd be cool.
Right.
So all I'm doing is I'm just taking all my plugs off and making sure that these aren't breaking first. Our children are the best. They have the funniest things to say all the time.
Really, just listening is so entertaining.
So this, I'm just gonna undo all of those to save us some time. So when you're pulling up on those boots, you want to be really careful. So some people will put they'll put see, it's got like dielectric grease in there. I'm not a fan of them just because dielectric grease is not conductive, right? So if you accidentally get some
on the actual,
you can cause problems.
Yeah.
The whole purpose that people do it is so you don't, so it comes off easier next. That's the only reason. The one thing that a lot of people will do too is they'll put anti-seize on your the threads to here.
Oh, okay.
The biggest reason people do that is if so it's easier for the next guy.
Wait, NTC, not like or like plumber's tape, but not
No.
or like
so it's called
Loctite.
anti-seize. Okay.
Anti-seize,
Yep.
Okay.
So anti-seize, there's a bunch of different kinds. There's high temp, there's low temp, but all it is it's just like a
I'm
coating.
like thinking like Loctite or like plumbing. I'm like, dang, they would screw
completely
you over.
different. Yeah, completely different.
Like they literally don't want nobody to do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that stuff will what it basically is just coating the threads, so like if water, corrosion, rust will get inside there.
Gotcha.
Makes
That's like
it
a kind of a
easier
barrier.
Yeah, like a barrier, so it doesn't hold itself to the head of the engine.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm literally picturing Loctite. I'm like, daggone.
So like you don't know, right? It's because you didn't know what it was. NTCs is like it's amazing. Some people use it for like lubricating brakes, and that's not what it's for.
You're like, another tip for another video.
Another video. I'll show you what you're supposed to use. You're supposed to use grease. So the big thing is you just want to make sure when you're pushing those down that they kind of suction cup over the spark plug itself.
Gotcha.
I keep getting so confused for some reason. So I keep listening to the kids. That's what it is.
Right. They're very interesting.
Being very careful with your wires. Coming up. So when you're yanking up on these, you don't want to pull on the ignition coil itself. You want to try pulling on the boot itself, because then you're not gonna rip. I've ripped so many of these boots, and you can buy. Yeah, so these are called the boot.
Okay.
So these are replaceable. You can tear these apart.
Well, that's good.
So like when if these do rip, a lot of auto parts store will keep them in stock because they rip. That's the whole purpose of them.
And so then demonstrate right here for like, or like maybe set it in here to where you're gonna like like you're pulling it out.
So if you're gonna pull it out, when you're pulling, you're gonna pick it up to where you can get your fingers down in here, and then you're just gonna pull up as hard as you can.
Okay.
And when I say that these are replaceable, this is what I mean. So that's your ignition coil,
okay.
and it suction cups in.
Fantastic.
That's all it is.
Because trying to demonstrate feel is really hard.
Yeah.
And like, especially with a practiced hand, you're like, you just do it.
Yeah,
but
you just do it.
Yeah. Like when you said like to crush the wash. Yeah, to crush that, like it's
that is one. Yeah, you have to feel, and that's where like using those wrenches and stuff like that, it gets rid of that feel. So you see how nasty that one is. That one's pretty worn out too. I think they're all gonna look about the same.
This one, I would be thoroughly surprised if they had a. Oh well, then this one was fine.
Yeah, this one's brand new.
Like,
there's some people that will like, if you have a misfire in cylinder 1, which whatever, they'll only replace the one spark plug. It's like, why?
You're already in there. Do the whole,
I'll do all of them.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna save yourself so much. It's gonna be a little bit more expensive, but you're gonna save yourself so much headache in the long run.
And then, like, what if you I don't know, especially for people who don't know exactly what they're doing, like, which one is what?
So I'm gonna have you feel it, okay?
Okay.
So put your hand right here.
Okay.
I like it. What you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of hold the ratchet steady. Okay. And you're gonna turn righty-tighty. You're gonna feel it start to get tight. Try to bring this over here more a little bit, so you're not cranking
ramming
it.
into that. Okay.
Yep. So you're gonna feel it start getting tight, and you're gonna kind of feel it give way a little bit. So start cranking. See how it's starting to like crush a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna do that. Once it starts to crush, then you're gonna get it to where it's tight, and then stop.
Okay, because I'm like.
Do you feel that?
Yeah. We're like, I can't go anymore, or at least I don't dare.
Yeah, you're good. So, and that's what I mean by you're gonna feel that crush wire crush.
Yeah.
And it's gonna crush and seal, and then you're good.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Sweet. And that's gonna be the same. So crush washers are, you use them, and there's a lot of scenarios where they're used. The most common is drain plugs. So like when you're draining engine oil.
Oh,
they use them on those.
Okay.
You always want to replace them. Sometimes you can get a couple crushes out of them, but it's like a
It's like reusing like
a $60. It's like a 60-cent part. Just go buy it, put a new one on. It's
like
insane.
reusing that like plumber's tape that I was explaining a little earlier.
Yeah, like you already have the roll. You might as well just use it.
Right.
So here, if you want to try.
Oh
you
yeah,
want to try
totally.
pulling that one out? Okay.
Okay, so like get it to where.
Yeah. So.
And you can do this with nails too.
I have a tech that is on my team.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
so you're gonna pull it.
That's a lot easier than I was expecting it. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna feel the section where it wants to.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
So if you were, so what will happen sometimes when you're pulling, if you're not pulling down here and you're just pulling on that ignition coil,
oh, you can lose
you'll
this
pull
part.
it, yeah, and you'll just
And then
lose
you're
that,
like,
and then you're digging it out inside the
well,
tool. Yeah.
we're a little stuck now.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it okay if it's like dirty or if like this stuff gets in there?
So you
or
want
is
to
it-
be careful with this because
Okay.
once you open this and you take the spark plug out, so you can see down in there.
Yeah.
You can see the spark plug. Once you do that, you have an open chamber to your firing chamber.
Oh yeah. So
So
literally
you don't want to
anything else
get
in
any
there.
dirt.
is
You don't want to
gonna-
get any stuff like that. So that if you have compressed air in a
usually
shop,
blow it
right?
off.
I would plug. I would put towels in here, and I would blow this whole thing out
Okay.
before I do anything.
And we got some little casualties. Looks like too.
Yep.
Well, sorry, buddy. Not a place to.
To be.
Couple of them. Yeah. All right.
So I'll have you, if you want, I'll let you. If you would like to.
Oh
take that
yeah.
off too.
Okay. And then
So remember, righty tighty, lefty do.
Yes.
So you're gonna want to support your ratchet.
don't push down on it, but
Yeah,
just
don't push
support-
down. Just support it, and then your left hand's gonna be
Okay.
the one that does all the work. So now that it's loose, you can pop your ratchet off.
Okay.
This is like where some people have things called speed ratchets,
Okay.
where they just use your hand. So now what I like to do,
and do
yeah,
it by
so you
hand,
just do it
because
by
you-
hand now.
Like I've
'Cause
been
then
watching you, but not doing the. Like I'll watch the video later. Oh.
It'll start to get a little stiff, and that's gonna be, so what you're feeling there is that's all that corrosion and stuff that are on the threads, right?
Can't get a grip on
And that's why people like, here, want me to-
Yeah, Mr. Muscle
Okay.
Hands. Little.
Here.
Oh, okay.
I'll
Oh
let you-
yeah, I gotta
let you use the big boy.
gun.
so you're gonna turn that.
Okay.
So just set it on there.
And then do I need to push anything?
Yep. So just to where it's a square drive, right? So you're gonna get that square and you're gonna line it up.
Okay.
Make sure it's pressed all the way in. Okay. And then you're just gonna pull the trigger.
Okay.
And just keep going. Just keep
Oh,
going until it's done. Yeah, just keep going
Okay,
until it's done.
like, ah!
Okay. Now pull it straight out. And this is where the spark plug, the nice magnetic
Oh,
spark
that
plug
magnetic
socket
and-
is
yeah.
amazing.
It's not a magnet, it's a magnet.
magnet, yep.
Man, do you?
Ooh, that one's crusty.
Oh,
crusty,
dude,
crusty.
yeah.
So that's all carbon deposits.
Fun.
And that's what happens when you are burning fuel.
It's fabulous.
Okay, so we're gonna check that gap again. It's right where it needs to be. Okay, I'll have you put this one in. I'm sure you're loving it.
Oh yeah, this is so cool. Like learning a new thing. And then by hand.
Yep,
just-
by hand, you're gonna let it slide in and you're gonna feel it kind of hit that hole. Okay, you wanna make sure you're flat and straight, and then you're just gonna start turning it and you'll feel the thread start to sink in.
And if there's resistance, then stop
Yeah, if there's
and
resistance.
undo.
Yeah, stop, undo, and try again.
Pause, rewind. Doop-a-doop-a-doo.
There's a lot of threads. Lots and lots of
Yeah,
threads.
just a
So
little.
they're-
I was like,
They're a
dang.
fine thread. Yeah, this is only for the Crysler. No, these spark plugs. Every single engine has a spark plug, right?
Mm-hmm.
That as far as I'm aware of.
Some magical.
Yeah. So we're just trying to. You want to be careful. You don't want to put any, because this will have debris that will come off of them.
Oh, true.
So you just want to be really careful.
Okay.
Maybe getting as much of it as you can, and like I said, not dropping any of that dirt into your intake manifold.
No spiders.
Or no little spiders.
They're carbon based, right?
Yeah. We're all
guess
carbon
everything
based.
is
We'll all burn. We're all gonna burn. Okay.
Make
Alright.
a little sacrifice to Betty, and then
So don't forget this. This is gonna come out like that. All that is just a sound reducer. Okay. So you're gonna press these in, and you're gonna make sure that, so these have these little tabs on them, and that's just to hold them in place.
Okay.
There's no, some of these kits, they'll have a little tab that like pokes out, and that's where you're gonna line that tab up with those.
Okay.
Is all. This specific kit does not have those.
It's like a kid getting those colored rubber bands on
Yeah.
their,
What were the silly bands or whatever they were?
or like on their braces. This is what.
Oh yeah.
Like Betty, you get
Getting
some bling.
some new bling. Yeah. All right. Okay. So we put in our new gaskets, and now all we're doing is we're gonna bring and line these back up. Okay. So notice how we're not lined up right now. See how it may look like it is, right? But if I try to sink these down, it's going to cause a problem. So we're going to come back. And this is where prying comes in handy. You're going to come back here, and you're going to pry that sucker down just a hair and push at the same time. And you're going to get it to kind of flop where it needs to go.
Perfect.
Now, getting this, you're gonna come back and you're gonna pry that back into place. And then once the time comes to bolt that in, we will help. So now the important part is installing these. You want to go really small. So always, whenever doing anything that's tiny, that you can strip out or break really easy, I always run 1/4 inch just because it's easier, and there is a specific bolt pattern that we need to follow
Okay.
for tightening that down.
Okay.
So,
And when you say also you start small with 1/4 inch.
so 1/4 inch is the size socket.
Okay.
So you have 1/4 inch, which is the little tiny guy, and then you have 3/8, which is this guy. Or
Oh, okay.
yep.
Yeah, okay.
So 1/4 inch, 3/8, and then the big boy where you go in where like a lot of like you're taking off tires, stuff like that, is 1/2 inch, and they go up to the biggest I've seen is 1 inch size.
Okay.
Usually that's like for like big diesel stuff like that. Never really use anything that big on this. So I'm gonna check. We're gonna look online here, and we're gonna find our intake manifold.
Now, is this program the all data?
So this all data, this is, you have to pay for it.
Okay.
It's a subscription base. You can pay for it for a month, for a day, stuff like that. Oops. So the hard part when doing stuff like this is like the names of what these things, like the components are.
True, because
right?
if you have no idea what you're doing, this will make it a little harder.
Do you want my genuine, honest opinion of what you should use if you don't know what the name is?
Totally.
Ask ChatGPT.
I love it.
If you're alone, you can ask Chat. Like, you'll take a picture and post it and say, "Hey, what is this component?" And it will tell you exactly what it is.
Okay, perfect. Especially because you're like, the thing that's in the middle.
Like, if this is smoke, obviously this is a battery.
Yeah.
But if this is smoking and you're like, "What is this? Is it supposed to do that? Should I be afraid?" That will tell you.
Yeah, especially if no resources available.
Yeah.
No human resource.
Okay. So we're gonna do intake manifold inspection, it looks like. And it's gonna tell you what to look for. You don't want to have it go too far in. You're gonna check for your damage and cracks. And we're gonna do procedures. And we're gonna try to find, it's not gonna tell us here. Let's see if it'll give us a torque. So there's 2 intake manifolds on here. We have the upper, and that one that I have that's down here where we put the gaskets on, that's your lower intake.
Okay.
So the one we want is our upper. So installation, upper, and it's gonna tell us We're gonna go to 7 Newton meters. Remember, it has it right here.
Oh,
7 to
yes.
9 Newton meters, or 62 inch-pounds. And you're gonna start 1. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
For installing, and then you're gonna do your outs. So here you go. So 1.
Oh, perfect.
So that's our tightening spec. So we're gonna go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Like,
So
like
we're gonna
skew
start.
off a star.
Yep, exactly.
Just
And
like
the
a tighter.
main reason you're doing that is you're tightening it down to where it's flat and it's not gonna flex.
Okay.
So especially when it comes to like anything aluminum that you're tightening and stuff, it's very important that you do that way. That you do it that way, because then it's tightening it down evenly. Just like when you're doing tires, when you take off tires and you're installing them, you do it in a star pattern.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So I'm gonna go.
Just 7-point star. In
Exactly.
rectangle.
Exactly. In a rectangle, right? Because so we're gonna go from here to here, and then it's gonna tighten this side down. Then we're gonna go here, here. So it's gonna tighten that one. So what it's pulling, it's gonna bring it like this to where it's tightening.
Like align it so it's
evenly.
also
Yeah.
not like overlapping somewhere.
Exactly. And it's just
messing
gonna
something up.
bring it down to where it's getting tightened down evenly.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah. And you're gonna go, what I do is I'm not tightening everything down all the way.
Oh,
I'm
just
gonna bring
like
it
IKEA
down.
furniture. You shouldn't tighten everything
Yeah,
until
leave
you...
it loose. Leave it loose, and then go and tighten everything down nice and tight.
All things, it just makes sense. Just didn't know could translate over.
Everything. I mean, they get that stuff for a reason, right?
True.
So where we're gonna go 5. And these are like little screw, like the type of screw they are is like what's it called?
Like that's
Yeah,
a
like a wood screw kind of. They're very
Oh, okay.
they're 8 millimeters. I'll say that. So they're an 8 millimeter screw. So 5, 6. And these you are not tight. I mean, do 7 to 9 Newton meters or like inch pound. You're doing inch pounds, not even foot pounds.
Oh, so it's like the hand tight was like 14, so we're doing half of that.
Yeah, half of that. So you're doing
Basically.
inch pounds now. So like it's not even it's enough to be a foot pound, but it's barely enough to where like most foot pound torque wrenches won't measure it.
Huh,
If
okay.
that makes sense. So it was 53. Was it 53 inch pounds? Is that what it was?
That's a good question.
62 inch pounds. Okay. So inch pound. So how many inches are in a foot?
Inches and 12.
12,
I'm like,
right? So what's
why did it take me so long to think
You're good.
of it?
So that would be, what is it? It's 5.
62 inches.
60,
Inch pounds.
62 inch pounds, and foot pounds is like, I'm a mechanic for a reason. I'm bad with that. So whatever it is. You guys can do that. Yeah,
later on.
ChatGPT if you're concerned. So that one is a little harder to get to. So
Yeah,
a
with
little,
all the-
little longer extension is nice when doing stuff. And all you're doing is all you're trying to do on this is you're not trying to really crank down on it. All you're doing is you're sealing an O-ring. That's
Just
all
yeah.
you're doing.
And that's squishy enough too, and
That's
thick
all
enough.
you're trying to do is you're trying to that inside part that was on top on this side of the intake is flat. And all you're doing is you're just pressing that gasket to where it squishes.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Creating that seal.
Yep, exactly. And then you won't have an air leak. And that's why I do 1/4 inch on stuff like that too, because it's so much smaller. It's easier, and you're not really like cranking on those bolts.
Yeah. And also doesn't seem like there's a ton of room, especially with that middle one.
Yeah. Okay. Turn it off for now, and then I'm gonna figure out how to get those back bent in. Oh, getting this in is kind of a little bit of finagling. You gotta angle it just absolutely perfect to get this sucker back in there. So you're gonna bring it up and over your ignition coil, and you're gonna push down, rock it in, and then you're gonna slide it over that boot. And then there's little rubber grommets that I am not gonna be able to like, I can try to show you, but it's gonna be so hard. So if you bring it back here, you're good. So there's these rubber grommets right here, and what you're gonna try to do is there's little rubber boots, and you're just gonna pop them on. And it's gotta be lined up absolutely perfect to get those rubber grommets to line up. And then push that in. Do not forget your electrical connector right there. And let's go try to fire it up and see. So got it running.
Wow.